大家好，中级英文课，这是第8课。我叫 Warren，我是你的英语老师。This is lesson 8. I will cover a new grammar point that combines two sentences into one using clauses. You may first find this to be a hard lesson when you first look at this video. But if you know how to use these words, that, which, who, and where, it becomes easier. Plus, it will take a lot of practice, so you may want to watch this video more than one time. Priscilla will also cover clauses so that you can better understand this. She will review grammar points from earlier lessons and also your homework. Jim will do something fun this week, an interesting discussion on baseball. Taiwan Bangju. Please read the definition of clauses here. The goal of clauses is to combine two sentences into one. The example here is, I am working on the project that is due this Thursday. So the clause is, that is due this Thursday. The sentences that we're combining are, I am working on the project. The project is due this Thursday. So you can take these two sentences, I am working on the project. The project is due this Thursday, by using the clause, that is due this Thursday. The sentence would be, I am working on the project that is due this Thursday. 你明白了吗？ The connecting word here is that. Here is the explanation of the clause words that you can use. Who? The woman who works in the bank is my neighbor. 跟我说 The woman who works in the bank is my neighbor. Whose? The man whose car was stolen went to the police station. That. I am selling the computer that I bought in the US. Which? Chopsticks are the tools which people use while they eat. Where? The park where I run is by my house. You should know that which and that have almost the same meaning when used as clause connecting words. You can use either one or the other in most cases. So here you can say, I am selling the computer which I bought in the US. It means the same thing as what is shown here. I am selling the computer that I bought in the US. Same with this one too. Chopsticks are the tools that people use while they eat. You can also say what's shown here. Chopsticks are the tools which people use while they eat. It really means the same thing. Let's try some exercises so that you better understand clauses. In each of these sentences, can you identify the clause word and then the clause? I must thank the boy who found my bag. Which is the clause word in this sentence? Who? What about the clause? Who found my bag? DR. This is the girl whose sister is in your class. What's the clause word here? Whose. What about the clause? Whose sister is in your class? son, the young man who is eating now is a manager. Or should it be worded like the young man who is eating now is a manager? What is the clause word here? Who. The clause would be who's eating. Number 4. This is the house where I was born. The clause word is where. The clause would be where I was born. Now let's look at this exercise another way. These are each one sentence. What are the two sentences that were used to make the one sentence? What about DE? I must thank the boy who found my bag. What are the two sentences here? One sentence would be, I must thank the boy. What is the second sentence? Can you think of that? What did the boy do? The boy found my bag. DR. What are the two sentences here? This is the girl. Who is she? Her sister is in your class. son, the young man who is eating now is a manager. What are the two sentences here? The young man is eating. The second sentence would be, now he is a manager. Now let me point out something about using clauses. This example is in your book, but there are really two answers to this sentence in terms of making two sentences out of that. Okay, if I read it as the young man who is eating now is a manager, means one thing. It means that the young man is eating and now he is a manager. So I suppose to be technically correct, you would put a comma here. The young man who is eating now is a manager. Actually, you would put a comma in two places. The young man, comma, who is eating, comma, now is a manager. The way that this sentence is written, it could be made out of these two sentences, and they really mean something else. The young man is eating now. That's one sentence. He is a manager. So this sentence is an example of how clauses can be very tricky, and you really do have to be careful how you use them. I will have more about the correct wording and the correct way to write clauses in a little bit in this video. This last sentence is more straightforward. This is the house where I was born. The two sentences are, this is the house. I was born in this house. Let's try some more. What are the clause words and clauses in each of these sentences? John is the smartest student that I taught. Look for the clause word. It would be that. So the clause would be that I taught. What about the next sentence? The boy whose parents died in the accident was sent to an orphanage. What is the clause word? It's whose. So what's the clause? Whose parents died in the accident. Dichi. The foreigner who sang is reading a book now. What is the clause word? It is who. So what's the clause? Be careful here. Who sang? That is the clause word, or clause in this case. The foreigner who sang is reading a book now. Let's look at each sentence another way. Number 5. Do you know the two sentences that were used to make this one sentence? What is one sentence that can be used here in number 5? John is the smartest student. What about the second sentence? What would that be? I taught John. So we take these two sentences, John is the smartest student, I taught John, and make it into one. John is the smartest student that I taught. What about number 6? What are the two sentences here? The first sentence is, the boy's parents died in the accident. What about the second sentence here? What would that be? He was sent to an orphanage. The boy whose parents died in the accident was sent to an orphanage. What about 7? The foreigner who sang is reading a book now. The foreigner sang. He is reading a book now. So the two sentences are combined into one. The foreigner who sang is reading a book now. 你明白吗? Let's try this exercise another way. This time I will give you 2 sentences and you are to make them into one sentence using one of the clause words and then making a clause. An example would be, Tom lost the shirt. The shirt cost him a lot of money. You can make one sentence by saying, Tom lost the shirt that cost him a lot of money. Okay, let's try DE. We like to eat the fruit. Mother bought the fruit last night. Think about what the one sentence would be. The answer is, we like to eat the fruit that Mother bought last night. So the clause word here is that, and the clause would be that Mother bought last night. DR. The nurse always comes to the office very early. The nurse wears a white jacket. Think about how you would combine these 2 sentences into one. The nurse who wears a white jacket always comes to the office very early. So here we use the connecting word, the clause word, who. Number 3, the workers live in Seattle. John works with the workers every day. One sentence that can be used would be, every day, John works with the workers who live in Seattle. Notice this time the clause sentence is a little bit trickier because I use the comma here. Let me explain this a little bit more. The clause sentences can be, the workers live in Seattle. John works with the workers every day. In Chinese, if you were to make it in one sentence, you would write it this way. John 每天都和住在 Seattle 的工人工作. In Chinese, you put every day 每天 before the verb. I said the answer can be, every day John works with the workers who live in Seattle. This is much like Chinese. You could have put 每天 in the beginning. So 每天 John, and then so on. And that still would mean the same thing in Chinese. Another way to put the clause together could be like this. John works with the workers who live in Seattle every day. Now, if you think about this sentence, it can be confusing. What does every day mean here? Is it the workers who live in Seattle every day? Or does John work with the workers every day who live in Seattle? It really means every day John works with the workers who live in Seattle. So another way to say this sentence and still be correct, before I do that, this sentence is confusing because you don't know where the everyday applies to. You can fix the sentence by adding 2 commas, here and here. So now you can identify the clause, you can separate the clause out by using commas. John works with the workers who live in Seattle every day. This sentence is really not that easy to understand or even to make. Another way to write this same sentence using these two sentences would be, John works every day with the workers who live in Seattle. So to try to summarize my point here, this is a good sentence because it's very clear. Every day, John works with the workers who live in Seattle. It's also probably easier for you to understand because in Chinese, as you know, the time comes before the verb. So if you know to put time here first, 每天, every day, then the sentence will be clear. But another way to write the same sentence and also be clear, and it took me a while to think about the right answer for this, so it's probably not that easy to think of immediately, is to use this sentence here. John works every day with the workers who live in Seattle. A third way to write this sentence is John works with the workers, comma, who live in Seattle, comma, every day. This sentence is really not preferred unless you know to put the commas here. And then even then, it makes it somewhat awkward to write down. So this is an example of why clauses can be tricky in English. Clauses can oftentimes cause misleading definitions if you're not careful. Let's try some more exercises. Combine these two sentences into one using clauses. Everyone loves to read the book. Helen Jones wrote the book. These examples are easier than the last sentence, number 3. Everyone loves to read the book that Helen Jones wrote. What about number 5? The man is the best Chinese teacher at our school. The man is walking on the street. Can you combine this sentence into one using a clause word and clauses? The man who is walking on the street is the best Chinese teacher. Oh, this is a mistake here. It's the best Chinese teacher at our school. Tabuchi. Every day, many people exercise in the park. The park has a lot of trees and flowers and beautiful flowers. So what is the clause sentence here? Every day, many people exercise in the park that has a lot of trees and beautiful flowers. Another exercise. I am very interested in the movies. The movies are about animals. I am very interested in the movies that are about animals. What about number 8? Did you see the $1,000? The $1,000 were on the desk. Did you see the $1,000 that were on the desk? So these are a little bit simpler than some of the other ones. Let me give you one more exercise. Remember, these sentences were similar to the sentences that I showed earlier in the video. So the exercise here is to combine the two sentences shown here into one sentence. The woman works in the bank. The woman is my neighbor. The woman who works in the bank is my neighbor. So that's the two sentences combined into one. What about the next one? The man's car was stolen. The man went to the police station. The man whose car was stolen went to the police station. I am selling the computer. I bought it in the US. What is the one sentence that you can make? I am selling the computer that I bought in the US. Chopsticks are tools. People use them while they eat. Chopsticks are tools which people use while they eat. Remember earlier I said that you can switch that and which in many times. So this sentence here is, I am selling the computer which I bought in the US, means the same thing as what I show here. Same with this sentence. Chopsticks are tools that people use while they eat. It's really the same thing. The last sentence, I run in the park. The park is by my house. The park where I run is by my house. So clauses can be hard. Some of them are easier than others, as you saw in the exercises that you did. As you become better and better at speaking English, I suggest that you can try clauses by first writing the sentences down that you want to combine into one. You might try some simple examples like this one. I run in the park. I walk in the park. The park is near the zoo, or the park is near my company, and then combine it into one sentence using one of the clause words. You might find that it's easier to write it down and then speak it out loud to yourself so that you can hear what it should sound like. Priscilla now will cover more on clauses and also the homework from last week, and then a grammar review of all the other points. I hope you are learning more and more English every week. 我希望你的英语说得更好. Thank you very much for watching. 下周见. Bye bye.
Hi everyone. 大家好. This is Intermediate ESL, the 8th week. 这是中级英文课第8周. And I'm your teacher, Priscilla. 我是你的老师, Priscilla or 苏水兰. Today's topic is describing things with clauses. 今天要讨论的主题是使用子句描述. So I know that Teacher Warren already talked about this a little bit with you. 我知道了，老师 Warren 已经跟你们讨论这个主题. I'm going to discuss it again. 我要再讨论一次. But I'm going to give a few new examples. 我会举不同的例子. And I'm going to talk about how these same words, they are called relative pronouns, that you use to make clauses. You also can use those as question words, which you covered in lesson 1. So 我还将讨论如何使用这些相同的单词, which are the 子句词来提问, to ask questions, 来提问. Okay. Also, I'm going to review last week's homework and tell you about this week's homework. So, 而且我会复习上周的作业和给你们今天的作业. Okay. So 好吧. Okay. 准备开始了吗? You ready to go? All right. Let's start. So here is the homework from lesson 7. 第7课的作业. And as you see, we have some pictures about weather, sunny weather, rainy weather, and you were supposed to 造句, write some sentences, 形容你的计划和天气. And so you're going to write about your plans and the weather, so both things. And you're going to use simple present tense and simple future. Okay, so you were supposed to 用现在简单是和简单未来式 to write these sentences. Here's an example that I gave you 上个星期. The sentence that I gave you was, it is sunny today, so I will take a walk. Right? And the simple present tense in that sentence, 现在简单是 was the word is. It is sunny today. The simple future in the next sentence is will take a walk. Will take a walk. So 简单未来式 will take a walk. And as you see, that's a 动词短语. So that's a verb phrase, more than one word, right? Will take a walk. Okay, so if we look, here's the lesson. I don't know what sentences you tried to write, but here's another example, 其他的例子 that maybe somebody wrote. The sun is shining. I will hang the laundry outside to dry. Okay, so 我会把衣服挂在外面晾干. Okay, so in the first sentence, the present tense is another verb phrase, the 动词短语, and that's is shining. The simple future is will hang. So I hope you tried it. And if you have any questions, you can always send questions. Use WeChat to send questions. 你有问题，你可以用微信送给我们你的问题. So now we'll talk about clauses and relative pronouns. Relative pronouns. And this is Teacher Warren talked about this already. 老师 Warren 已经跟你们讨论这个主题. But I'll just review it. So 我会复习一下. So as you see, 这就是句子里面的小句子. So a clause is a phrase. Okay, so another way to put it is a 短语. Okay, it's a sentence inside a sentence, two sentences together. Okay, and the clause word puts the two ideas together. So here's the example that they gave you and that Teacher Warren talked about. I am working on the project that is due Thursday. The word that right here is the 词助词. It's the clause, the relative pronoun is what it's called in English. Okay, so as you see in Chinese, here's written. I can't say all this, but you can read it. Okay, 子助的部分就是 so that's the small sentence. That is due Thursday. The project is due Thursday. Okay, and 这句话 the project is due Thursday. 本身也是一个句子. So this whole idea all by itself is a sentence. Is a sentence, complete idea, one idea, a complete idea. And that that 就是连接子助的子助词. So that's the word that puts the two ideas together. That in the second part replaces the word project. The project is due Thursday. I am working on the project that is due Thursday. So two ideas. The project is due Thursday. I'm working on the project. Those are the two ideas. Does that make sense? Does that make and so So relative pronouns replace the noun in the second, when they join the ideas together. Okay, so the relative pronoun 除代名词, 除代名词. Again, these two examples. The project is due Thursday. It should say the project here. The project is due Thursday. I am working on the project. So you don't say project twice. All right, let's go on and look at some other material. I'm working on the project. Here you go. I'm working on the project. The project is due Thursday. So you don't repeat the word project. You replace the word 取代了 project with the word that. Here you go. I'm working on the project. That is due Thursday. Okay, so here's a little bit more about how to choose the correct relative pronoun when you're changing a sentence, when you're changing two ideas to one sentence. Okay, how do you choose them? 如何选择纠正的自助词? How do you do that? Well, the word who, and I know Teacher Warren covers this, but this is a review, 复习, okay? So who, the word who, 只是人, just for people, just for people. So in the example sentence, the woman who works in the bank is my neighbor. Okay, so who is the two ideas? The woman works in the bank. The woman is my neighbor. The woman who works in the bank is my neighbor. Whose indicates possession. 只是拥有权. Okay, and it's referring to people. Or it's also referring to animals. So you can use the word whose for animals also. But it's more about possession. So possession, 拥有权. The man whose car was stolen went to the police station. Two ideas. The man's car was stolen. The man went to the police station. The man whose car was stolen went to the police station. Oh, I see a typo here. This should be stolen. It should be an N here. Mistake. Okay, what's all? Okay. The word that you can use in many situations. 是用动物、物品、思想、人等等. So you can use it for a lot of things. The animal that is barking furiously is our dog. The apples, so 物品. The apples that my friend gave me are delicious. The dog that is barking, 动物. Okay. Right. So which is interesting. It can be used for animals. It can be used for people. It can be used for ideas, things. So 只是动物物品想也只是特定的选择. So that's the important and different thing about the word which. It's about pointing to things that you really specially, uniquely want. Okay. And the example here is, this is a dish. So you're at a restaurant, 你在一个饭馆, and you're pointing 只是 to an item on the menu. Okay. And you say, this is the dish which I would like to try. So it's particular. And finally where, 这是地点. This is the town where I grew up. Okay. 我长大的这个城镇. Okay. So a couple of things. 注意，有时 which can be used in place of that. Okay, so sometimes you can use which instead of that, but more often you use that. Okay, most of the time, you're going to use so 经常 you're going to use that. But which and that 可以 you can switch them. But remember,记住 which is more about pointing out something that you especially and specifically want. Okay, so 记住 which 比 that 要按次跟主题的选择。Moving on. Okay, so some relative pronouns are also question words. And you talked about this, we covered this in lesson 1. Let's see if I have. Okay. And so this is a review. 复习一些自助词也被充当问题词 and here you see them, and these were also in lesson 1. So the word who, 询问人 and so who will be at the party, and the word when 时间 is what time, when are you going to the party, 你什么时候回家 when you're coming home, when you're going home, where 询问地点你住在哪儿 that's the equivalent. What like the word that has many uses, and it's asking about people, things, animals, time, 等等 okay. 几点 what time, 你写什么呢 what are you writing, what should I bring 你应该带什么东西 what should I bring. So what is for many things, people, animals, things. Okay. Why is asking about 为什么 is the equivalent, or 怎么样询问一个原因 so it's asking for, it's inquiring about a reason. Okay. 询问一个原因 Okay, which again, like in the slide before, is asking about particular, which in particular do you want? Okay, so it's when 关于特定的事情、情况、事项等等 Okay, which shirt do you want to buy? All right. Let's do a little practice. 练习吧. So what I want you to do here is, here are some sentences in Chinese. Okay, so 这里有一些中文句子 and all the sentences in Chinese have at least 2 ideas. 所有的句子至少有2个注意事项 So what we want you to do is to write these sentences in English. 用英文写句子 造句 using the clause words. The clause words. It might be that, it might be who, it might be where. So if you would 暂停视频下 and 试试做 and then I'll show you the answers. Okay, so maybe you did pause it and maybe you did try. So let's look at the first one. 他买的那件衣服很贵. 他买的那件衣服很贵. So how would you write that two ideas is she bought clothes and the clothes are expensive. Two ideas. 两个思想, right? So how would you write that in English? The clothes that she bought are expensive. I'm not sure if I can read that whole sentence in Chinese, but I'm going to try. So the idea is here. 为了忘掉一段刚结束的恋情，我离开台北到上海。So two ideas is moving to Shanghai and a relationship that ended. To forget the romance. So in order to, 为了, in order to forget the romance that just ended. So I guess though that's the first part of the thing has the two ideas. To forget the romance just ended. To forget the romance that just ended. I left Taipei and went to Shanghai. And then this sentence is about a dog whose owner died or passed away, and the dog is sad, right? 主人去世的那只狗似乎很难过。So let's see, how would you write that? The dog whose owner died seems very sad. So you're using the word whose. I'll take my cursor and circle the word whose. And it's referring to an animal. It could refer to a person. We could switch this, but maybe it's the dog, the owner whose dog died is sad. But in this case, it's the owner who died. So the dog whose owner died seems very sad. All right, and let's do a little bit more practice. So again, 暂停视频一下 and 试试做. Again, write these Chinese sentences in English. Okay, assuming that you did pause for a few moments and try to write, let's look at these sentences. 昨天来的工人是很聪明 very. So the two ideas, the new worker came yesterday, and this person is very smart, seems very smart. So how do you put those two ideas together? And what clause word do you use? Do you use the word who? Do you use the word that? Because it's referring to a person. What could you use? The worker who came yesterday is very smart. But you may hear some people say the worker that came yesterday is very smart. Who is better? Who sounds better? Sounds better. So this sentence is about a girl or woman who has blonde hair. 那个金发的女生是我的邻居. So she's my neighbor. So the woman is my neighbor and the woman has blonde hair. So how do you put those two ideas together? And what word do you use? The woman whose hair is blonde is my neighbor. Whose hair? Because it's about possession. Do you see that? It's about 拥有权. Her hair. Her hair is blonde. Okay, and finally, 是我做事的机会. Two ideas. A chance was an opportunity, and I missed the opportunity. It's the chance or the opportunity that I lost. Okay, let's move on and talk about these clause words, 词助词 as 问题词, question words. So here are a few sentences asking questions in Chinese. So 暂停视频一下 and 试试做 用英文试试做 重写 这些句子。Okay, try to rewrite these sentences using English. Okay, assuming that you did, let's see what what question words an English speaker would use for these ideas, for these questions. 几点钟? What time is it? 西雅图国际区在哪儿? Where is Seattle's International District? 什么时候会回家? When will you come home? 今天晚上的老师是谁? Who is tonight's teacher? 你为什么每天上班迟到? Oh, why? It's asking for a reason. 一个询问一个原因 Why? Okay. 发生了什么? What happened? And then finally, 哪家餐厅的哪家餐厅的麻婆豆腐最好? So this is asking for something very specific, right? Very specific. Which restaurant has the best mapo tofu? All right, I hope this review was helpful. I hope going over the relative pronouns for clauses was a little bit helpful. Some practice. 继续一下. Here's the homework for lesson 8, part 1. Okay. Here you see the same weather again, but notice I have yesterday and tomorrow. Because for this part of the homework, I want you to practice using simple past and future tense. So last week's homework, we used simple present. 现在简单式. But now we're going to use 过去式, 简单过去式 and 简单未来式 to write sentences. 造句. So here's an example. Yesterday was a sunny day, but tomorrow there will be some rain. So 昨天是一个阳光的日子，明天会下雨. Okay. So in this example, the simple past tense is the word was. Yesterday was a sunny day, simple past tense. The simple future tense in the sentences will be. So for part 1 of the homework, you would write some sentences about the weather and about your plans using simple past and simple present. Okay, your turn. But there's also part 2 to the homework. So what I want you to do in this part of it is to write sentences about the picture using relative pronouns to connect ideas. This is something that just happened. As you can see, 超级气旋 Anpan, the name of the cyclone. Anpan 就散在印度登陆. So it came in. So the cyclone hit India Wednesday, Josan, and I want you to write a couple of sentences. So there's ideas that you can see in this picture. So 关于这张照片，造一个两个句子，用词助词和短语连接注意。Now, I'm not sure, okay, if what I wrote in Chinese is accurate. OK，我不确定我用中文写的东西是否正确。But you also have the English. You also have the English. Write sentences about the picture. Use relative pronouns to connect ideas. We've been talking about. And here's an example. Okay, here's an example. Here's my example. Here we go. Here's my example. About the picture. Okay, 关于那张照片. This is a place. It is raining a lot. 两个注意，两个想, right? Put it together. Okay, 两个注意一起. You put together the ideas. This is a place where it is raining a lot. Another example. The man is walking in the rain. You see a man walking in the rain in the picture. The man looks tired, 很累. So, 两个注意一起. The man who, we could use the word that, but who is better? The man who is walking in the rain looks tired. So in these sentences, the 此助词 are where and who. As I said, or that. Okay, so your turn. Your turn to write a few sentences for homework. And then when I see you next time, we can look at that. And if you have questions, 有问题可以用微信送给我们你的问题. Okay, so please take care of your health. 请注意保重身体 and 下次见.
Hi, my name's Jim Robinson, and this is week 8 for Intermediate ESL. And this is the last presentation. We're going to do something a little different. This is what I would call a fun and informative presentation, a little different change of pace. It's a pretty short presentation on Taiwan baseball. Talk a lot about US baseball in the process. And I hope you find it interesting. So, as I said, just a little change of pace here. I'm going to start off with a traditional song that if you went to a US baseball game, you would hear it at the 7th inning, middle of the 7th inning. And this started in the, I think it was 1906. Imagine that. Sort of a tradition, people standing up and singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." So we're going to try to go to this here on YouTube. So this is what you hear in the 7th inning at a US game.
I don't care if I never get back. Root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. Or it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Take me out to the ball.
Okay, you don't need to hear it again. So let's get started here. I hope you enjoy this. This is meant to be fun, as I said, a change of pace. So Taiwan baseball, a couple of years ago, before I retired, I was in Taiwan for the second time. I really enjoyed Taiwan. And one night it was at we went to a baseball game there in Taoyuan. I'm sure I pronounced it incorrectly, but it was at the Taipei Municipal Baseball Stadium. And here we have a picture of it, and here we have some players playing. My first trip to Taiwan was about 5 years ago, and anyway, I was really impressed with the Taipei 101 tower there. I had no idea what was there. Actually, on our return trip home, we spent one night in Taipei and went to the top. It was a lot of fun. Anyway, very nice. Okay, baseball. So there are 4 Asian League baseball teams in Taiwan. The Flamingo Monkeys, they were playing the Brothers Elephants the night that I was there. And they're in Taoyuan. Brothers Elephants. Elephants is their, of course, mascot. Taichung. And I've spent almost a week in Taichung. I really enjoyed that city as well. Huni Lions down in Tianan. I'm sure not pronouncing these correctly. And then finally, the 4th team at the southern part of the island is the Edna Rhinos. And I spent a week down there in Kaohsiung. And I really enjoyed that city. In fact, I enjoyed all the cities in Taiwan. It was a little warm in Kaohsiung, I might add. The baseball diamond here is typical, same as in Taiwan. There are 9 players on the field. Of course, you have home plate with the catcher, first base, second, third. You have the pitcher, of course. You have the shortstop where it says infield dirt, and then right, center, and left field in the foul line in the warning there. It's pretty straightforward. What's some of the vocabulary that you would find at a baseball game? Certainly here in the US, I suspect it would be the same in Taiwan. Now I'm going to go through the code there and the baseball terminology just once, but I will go through the words there twice, because those are words you'll probably you need to remember. You don't need to remember them, but if you go to a game here in the US, you'll find them useful. Anyway, code AB is at bat. So when they're there at home plate, the person is AB or at bat. Base on balls, that's also called a walk. That's when the batter gets thrown 4 poor pitches, so that they're not strikes. So if you throw 4 balls, then you get to walk. BA is batting averages, and that's hits divided by at-bats. H, times reached base because of batted fair ball without error by the defense. GS, grand slam, that's when you hit the ball out of the park and the bases are loaded. So you have the person who's sitting, first, second, and third players are on that grand slam. Big deal. K are strikeouts. Catcher must catch the third strike or batter may attempt to run to first base. You don't see that too often. They generally just get struck out. RBI, runs batted in. So a player can actually get thrown out, but he could, if there aren't 3 strikes already, 3 outs already, he can hit the ball and a runner gets in and they make a point. SF is sacrifice fly. It's a ball hit into the outfield and caught, but allows a base runner to advance. And SLG is slugging average, total bases achieved on hits divided by at-bats. So, total bases divided by at-bats. I don't know if you'll remember any of this, but here are the words you need to know at a US baseball game, and I suspect at Taiwan. Favorite beer, you need to know that. Pretzels, I don't know if you're familiar with pretzels, but they're pretty popular at baseball games. Nachos, those are chips with cheese and peppers, and you can put all kinds of things on nachos. Hot dogs, instant noodles. Tickets, you need a ticket to get in. Stadium seating, it's your seating in the stadium. Parking lot, transportation, fan club, fan cheers, mascot, bases loaded. Okay, again, favorite beer, pretzels, nachos, hot dogs, instant noodles, tickets, stadium seating, parking lot, transportation, fan club, fan cheers, mascot, bases loaded. I have some pictures here, a few more slides down, of the fan club there, the Flamingo Monkeys fan club, and the cheers are going through. Anyway, okay. There are 21 million hot dogs in the US are sold each year at baseball games. So that's a lot of hot dogs. The average annual salary for a baseball player in the United States is $4 million a year. And in Taiwan, it is $65,000 a year. So the US players are overpaid, and the Taiwanese players are underpaid, in my opinion. But anyway, okay. Average attendance in the US is 30,000 per game versus 6,000 in the US. And baseball was first introduced by the Japanese in 1895. It's also my understanding that a ticket to get in is something like $6 in Taiwan, whereas in the US, the average ticket is like $34 or $35, something like that as well. So there's a big difference in ticket prices. I guess it's reflected in the player's salary. Okay. So if you go to a baseball game, chances of being hit by a baseball are 300,000 to 1. So it's pretty safe. Today's Taiwan teams are owned by large corporations. A similar practice is seen in Japan and South Korea. Now, our Mariners here in Seattle, one of the largest stockholders of that team is Nintendo of Japan. It's Nintendo of America, but Nintendo worldwide owns Nintendo of America. So anyway, a lot of corporations or individuals do own teams, but Paul Allen was another owner of the Seattle Seahawks as an individual. So anyway, these are run by the corporations in Taiwan. Each season spans from March to October, a long season, with playoffs held in early October. I shouldn't say a long season, it's about the same as here in the US. And in Taiwan, they sell instant noodles instead of hot dogs with mustard. So 21 million hot dogs at home, but instant noodles here. So I suspect the instant noodles are a lot better for you. Okay, we got some questions. How many baseball players are on the field at one time? Okay, pause. 9. Catcher, pitcher, first, second, third, shortstop, left, center, and right field. Okay, name the 4 professional baseball teams in Taiwan. Okay, Flamingo Monkeys. Whoops, okay, think about it. Pop right up here. Brother Elephants and the Lions at Edna Rhinos. Okay. There are 4 professional teams. Where are the 4 professional teams located? City. Well, you probably know. Taoyuan, Taichung, Tian, and Kaohsiung. At a baseball game, at a Taiwan baseball game, what is more popular? Instant noodles or hot dogs? Well, we all know the answer to that. Instant noodles, of course. Okay, that's about it. These are pictures that are taken. There's the cheerleader there, the upper left. The mascot is in the right over there. It's a Flamingo monkey. Doesn't look like a monkey, but well, he does, but not the right color. And the fans, and then that's a picture of me. Not my glasses. Anyway, I was pretty impressed. It wasn't a major game when I was there, but the fans, you know, they really got into the cheers and the fan club. There wasn't as much drinking there. I think people in the U.S. drink far too much at these, you know, major athletic events. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. It was just a little change of pace. I know there's a lot of English, me speaking a lot of English, and not as much Chinese or dual translation as you're used to. So that's that.